I'm Rachel Johnson, the Charismatic Chemist, and today I will be talking to you about how I started my journey in cosmetic chemistry and how you can start yours. My interest in cosmetic chemistry was initially sparked my last semester of undergrad. I did not know anything about the cosmetic industry until I had to do my seminar for graduation. So I learned about the industry through that research for that seminar, and I immediately wanted to be a cosmetic chemist. When I first decided to be a cosmetic chemist, I would say the very first challenge was not a lot of people knew what the profession was or how to get into the industry. So that was the first challenge, was like trying to find my way to finding my job, finding someone who knew what I was talking about and how I could get a job. So that was the first one. First big step was, how do I even start applying for jobs or finding a company to work for? Essentially, I overcame that challenge by a lot of research. I looked at the back of packaging to find the manufacturer of that product, and that's kind of like that led to me finding companies that made the products and how to apply. I looked into L'Oreal, I looked into Estee Lauder, I looked into all of the big brands and how people started at those companies. Everything on LinkedIn helped me find my way. LinkedIn was a humongous tool that helped me visualize what the industry looked like on paper and how I could navigate my journey and how I wanted to enter the industry. I overcame the challenge of not having experience by honing in on my resume. So I did have lab experience as a research student. So I took all the things that I did as a research student at my undergrad and I brought it to the top of my resume, and it's what I talked about in interviews, like all of the things I did on the bench in undergrad. And that made me more prepared for the positions than other people would have, because that's something that not a lot of people talk about, is like research projects and poster projects that you did in undergrad. Definitely talk about those to future employers. Some advice that I would give someone who's trying to break into the industry today is definitely get out of the lab. Go to an event, go network with people. If you can't make it in person to an event, network virtually. Again, LinkedIn is a great tool. Network with someone who has a job title that you want to have. So, for instance, me, I'm a cosmetic chemist. You can network with me on LinkedIn. You can network with me at any events that I'm attending. You can network with other professionals that are in a position that you want to be in and ask them questions of how they got into the industry, how they're successful in doing their jobs. Yeah, that's my biggest tip. Definitely network. Like, you're not going to know what's going on if you don't get out and talk to somebody. I'm starting to see a lot of different academic institutions integrating cosmetic science into their programming. So there's a lot of universities that offer drop-in classes, or they offer certifications that's not really a degree or a master's, but you get to learn the ins and outs and the basics of cosmetic chemistry. I definitely recommend you to upskill yourself to learn the basics of what it is to be a cosmetic chemist, so that you understand what it takes for you to do the job. Getting an internship is huge. Having an internship, even if it's for a small amount of time, you still learn a lot about the industry, and figure out where you want to be in the sector. Maybe it's something in contract manufacturing. Maybe it's something on the brand side. Maybe it's raw material suppliers. There's a lot of different jobs that you can do in the industry, and networking and learning about these opportunities is the biggest way that you can plan your career. Because that's essentially what you're doing, is planning your career and what you want to do. So attending webinars, networking. SEC is always a great resource because most of their events are free. That's a very easy way, without spending a lot of money, that you can learn skills and insights about our industry and how you can break into it. Some advice that I would tell my younger self is to pace yourself, right? It was a lot of things that I accomplished in a very short amount of time. And it was because I was very ambitious and very driven. And I expected everyone to appreciate that about me and to value that in me. But some organizations do not like very ambitious people, people who want higher salaries, who wants promotions, who wants more of everything that they do. Some companies kind of want you to stay in one place at one time for a certain amount of time. And that's okay. That's okay. Now that I'm here, I understand why it's built that way. When I say it, the industry is very specific on how many years you should be an entry level chemist, and how many years you should be a senior chemist, and how many years you should be a manager, like before you can progress to those stages. And me being ambitious, I'm like, I can do it in 3, or I can do it in 2 years. And I did. And I did, but it made it very difficult for me to move the way I wanted to move, because other people wanted to determine what I could accomplish in the amount of time that I accomplished it. So I would tell my younger self, set your own time limit, but be reasonable. But don't allow others to set a limit on what you can accomplish.